Hello, everybody. First of all, I apologize for the late night. I realize that as I've been traveling around the country, people tell me that their spouse has the periscope. It goes, some kind of whistle thing, and it goes off at all kinds of ghastly hours of the day and night. And here I am again at 11:41, late at night. And what happened was everybody's left for the dream trip. So I come home to Dallas and take care of something. I'm looking at my notes here that are in the kitchen. Hi, son. Nothing like, it's a normal family life, like everyone's kids are a couple of thousand people. You're thankful that your family at least is dressed when they're walking around the house. Anyway, I'm sitting here, I'm going through my notes because these notes are on the wall. I've got notes all over. Look at the stuff I've been preparing for this dream trip. Wait till you see, this is going to be the most outrageous. This is for, by the way, deliverance. The Lord's been telling me, people need deliverance. I must need deliverance in a big way because, as I'm practicing this stuff, the Lord's telling me He wants us to talk about how to command your state so that there's an overcoming state. Because frankly, I get bugged. Like Stephen Colbert doing his rant the other night on Donald Trump. What the heck is it with these comedians? They feel some kind of burden to become some kind of social redeemer. This isn't Martin Luther King doing a late night talk show. Where did these guys get the hubris to be lecturing the 60 million Americans that voted different than him and insulting the President of the United States? I mean, is there no honor? What about, honoring those who are in authority? America has such a rebellious spirit in it sometimes. I just want to smack it. Anyway, this is the point. See, that's a good example. That could take me captive. But you got a choice. You can either move toward the kingdom or you can move away from it depending on what gets you. See, whatever gets your focus gets you. Remember that. Whatever gets your attention gets you. The average person thinks at the rate of 1,300 words per minute. That's unconscious. And so it's just, you got self-talk going on. And the self-talk, I'm telling you, in the last days especially, is going to get more and more intense. And so we have to learn how to press into the Spirit. Now, I'm not one of those people that subscribes to checking out of the culture war because I want to, be in spiritual la-la land and love everybody. I say that sometimes you have to have the courage to have opinions because people are constantly being shaped by the propaganda that they're exposed to. And so if they never hear truth, there's never a doubt put in their mind about the propaganda. So you have to have opinions, but you can't be obnoxious. You have to be winsome and informed and articulate and engaging. But here's the deal. Every moment you're either moving toward the kingdom or away from the kingdom, and you can't shift the environment around you if the environment in you is agitated. So, this is so neat. So we're going to be talking about how to literally shatter the narratives that come into our heads and into our hearts that would hold us captive. And while I'm working on this material, I've had some unusual warfare myself. But I want you guys to be in the program. So what you want to do is go to lancewallnow.com and you want to go there and lancewallnow.com/dream trip. lancewallnow.com/dream trip. And you can join us because we're going to shatter the ungodly beliefs. We're going to actually identify the lies that hold us captive, and we're going to break them. This is the manual I'm going to be giving everybody that's there. Literally, it's the convergence code. It's going to hack the code of how to get into a flow in the Spirit. And I had some warfare lately, which tells me I know there's going to be great deliverance in this program. Unlike any other dream trip, we have like almost 300 people attending this thing. But we're going to be talking about I've got a prophet coming in too. You guys haven't met yet. Prophets flying in because it's somebody who I like tapping into the global prophetic network. We're going to be looking at some of this stuff. This is interesting. The Covey model. The Covey model is how to find your authentic voice. Now, Stephen Covey had an interesting piece of the puzzle. Maybe I'll give it to you here. You want to see what it is? He took the model that was Collins' model from Good to Great. And don't recommend you always pull these things off with your teeth. But here's like the model. There's Collins' model basically said that the challenge in terms of the convergence in your life is to find what you can be best in the world at. What can you be best in the world at? And then what do you love most? Take what you can be best in the world at and what you love most. You guys see that? And if you can find out how to monetize it, then you've got a career that brings you joy when you do it. Because whenever you're using your gifts to do what you love most, it creates great satisfaction. So we have to figure out how to monetize. And I've got one guy who's coming in who has learned, who's a missionary for years. And he traveled with me as a young man. And he went on to, building a great business for himself. But not as a missionary, but as a messenger. And he learned how to take the leadership messages he was giving as a missionary and as a kingdom guy and translate them into the language of the secular marketplace, where the marketplace pays him to do what he loves to do most. And what's interesting is he's found out 8 levels. Now he does keynotes and coaching courses and consulting courses, and now he's certifying coaches. But the fact is, he figured 8 levels of monetizing a message in a mountain. And some of you grab that module. It'll be worth the entire investment just to get those 8 levels deep. So Collins says, find out what you're best at, find out what you love most, and then learn how to monetize. Because if you're really good at it and you love it, but you don't know how to monetize it, it's called a hobby. See, some people just have a hobby because they don't know how to make a living at it, so they do it in their free time. So finding out how to monetize is really an art and creativity. Now, hold on a second. Let me get the red pen. This is what Covey says. Covey added to Collins' model. He said, but let's add one more sphere to this. One more sphere. What would that sphere be? This is where the voice of God comes in. It's called conscience. Conscience is the heartbeat of heaven, because what God does is he takes what you're best at, what you love most, you find out how it can be funded, but then the voice of conscience points you in the direction of the greatest need that you meet uniquely that no one else can meet. And so where you find conscience speaking, you're no longer just good at what you do. You become, catch this, he says, you become an authentic voice. And that's what's needed in the world today. We need oracles. We need believers that have voices, authentic voices that can speak into the spheres that they're assigned to. Speak supernaturally. Whatever happened to, in the Christian church, we had the church fathers who were the great apologists. Why are we silent? Why do we villainize our ability to speak against the errors of our day? Because the church fathers had apologists. We had people that spoke and articulated the defense of the faith and the defense of the Christian worldview in the face of paganism. And what you have now in America is a modern-day pagan culture shaped primarily by the defection of righteous voices from the high places of academia, entertainment, and media, and politics. Think about this. Christians gave the 4 of the 7 mountains up. And in America, we are in a life and death struggle to see whether this experiment in freedom can survive. Because the enemy isn't going to accommodate. The enemy is going to continue to blaspheme, slander, and stir. And when Hillary Clinton says 24 hours ago that she's part of the opposition, what is she calling herself? It's the, there's a word for it. Yeah, it's like the opposition. It's the resistance. Oh yeah, like it's something really sexy, like it's coming from Star Wars. These people aren't part of the resistance. The only thing they're resisting is God. The Bible talks about those that oppose themselves. That's exactly what progressives are. They oppose their own self. They're opposing the ability of America to finance. Do you realize we have over $100 trillion worth of debt cumulatively in unfunded liabilities? That means the debt that we've already got that we don't have money for in the future. Liberals would destroy this country and turn it into an anarchy that would become a rubble that would look like Venezuela overnight. They oppose themselves. It's like a zombie culture. And the only thing that can stop it is the grace of God in the institutions. Such is democracy. But if we don't have Christian influence, salt and light and leaven in the political system, on the TV, in the media, I encourage you, just go look at Dinesh D'Souza. If you've never heard of the guy, just go YouTube, Dinesh D'Souza. I just sat up the other night enjoying this guy speaking at a college. Here's his name. D'Souza. Go YouTube Dinesh and listen to what it's like to drink from a fountain of clarity and coherence. By the way, we want to see what is not clear and coherent? I have a whiteboard that if you flip it upside down, everything's upside down. That's my notes for the dream trip. I'm like a mad scientist. These are my formulas. I have all these formulas here to take off the veil for Jesus and Jesus over our land. There you go. It's my formulas right there. I was joking, by the way. Most people with a Jewish background don't impersonate Hitler unless they have a sense of humor. But like Ann Coulter says, the problem with America is that we're being led by the Church of Liberalism, and it's godless. It's a godless culture. That's right next to my New Testament. Guess you can tell what my reading's like. Well, anyway, lancewallnow.com/dream trip. I want you to find your voice this year, and we have to cast down. I had this voice coming to me today. I don't want to tell you guys this because these videos get shared, and I don't want the wrong people to hear them. You know, I'm probably one of the only preachers I know that's actually watched religiously by journalists on the left wing. And we love you, but you're deluded. But we still love you. And I don't want to tell you what I was going to tell you. I'll wait till I'm over it. But, today I had one of those encounters. And you have an encounter with the enemy when you try to cast down the thought, but it keeps coming back. And the thought keeps coming back, and you try to cast it down. And I was just talking to someone tonight, and I said, I really believe that God wants to dig deeper into us. Because if you have a battle with some spirit, you have authority over the spirits, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God is the remedy to our problems. But if you can't cast it down and keep it down, it's because at some level you have agreement with the accusation. At some level, there's territory in you that that has some ground the enemy is occupying. Because you ought to be able to cast down something you have authority over. If you don't have authority over, it's because it has authority over you in some unconscious area. So I started thinking, why do I care about what this person's opinion is of me? And I'll tell you, it really got to me. And I was thinking, I actually am hurt when people that I respect and love don't respect me. And it's kind of like, because you admire some people, you'd like to have them at least reciprocate. But to love somebody or admire them and then have them belittle you is very painful. And but it's like the Lord is saying, why does that bother you? Well, it's because my opinion of me is still at some point dependent on the affirmation of other people. I think all of us are like that, but I can't afford to be like that, and neither can you. I cannot afford to feel good about myself or bad about myself based upon the appraisal of somebody else. The Apostle Paul said that if we were to speak as pleasing men, we would not be servants of God. That means at some level, I must be a man-pleaser. Because if someone isn't pleased with me, I know a lot of people aren't pleased with me, but this one person, it was somebody I looked up to, and their lack of, and something, there's probably a story they've got. Maybe they have a story. Maybe it's like, well, maybe they have an issue with me. I should probably go find out, don't you think? Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe there's some unfinished business that they have with me. That's an interesting idea. The point is that you should not be bowing to the opinion of anyone other than Jesus. And the ability to stand alone is the measure of your real strength. That's the beautiful thing about Jesus. He stood alone against the malice of the world when his own disciples forsook him, and he didn't collapse. This week, we're going to be exploring how to get the hooks out of us, the deep hooks that have us in a position of compromise with our highest, best voice. That is, the voice of your authentic self, the anointed voice that is doing what you do best, learning how to form the career that supports you as you go up the mountain, and having an authentic sound that doesn't bow the knee to Baal, doesn't cower in the court of human opinion. And that's going to be one of the things I'm going to be doing this week. So here we are. Look at all my stuff. I got to pack this stuff up. I can't pack it all, but what a powerful week we're going to have. I already know the anointing's there. Everyone left. Annabelle called me. The team is setting up. I'm going in a day late, but it's good for me. I need the space to kind of like get myself ready. All right. I look forward to seeing you guys. Sign up for the live link. Get the live link. I did a coach call. I did a 1-hour coach call. You can get the download of the PDFs to prepare for the coaching, because I'm telling you, we're going to go deep this time. A deep dive. Look at all these other books I got. Is this crazy? This is what my wife has to live with. I'm obsessed with you finding your purpose. This is a great book too, Life Launch. This is another great book, God's Chaos Candidate. I just spoke at a conference this week. It was hilarious. And my friend introduces me and says, basically, before Lance comes up and speaks, I just want you to know the views expressed by this man are not necessarily those of our organization. Oh my gosh. I love my calling. All right. I'll be checking in with you guys later, all right? Pray for me. Will you pray for me this week? Pray for me, and I'll get you behind the scenes as much as possible. I'm going to be working with the live stream people. LanceWalnut.com/dream trip. See you in Lake Tahoe.